Hey there, it is Tom here on behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again, and we are continuing on with the Great Guitar Build Off / Anniversary build. I have no issues with you using the chapter markers to kind of skip around the video a little bit, as long as you find the content that you're looking for. This time we're going to be working on, well, whatever it says in the title. This is the moment that I have been waiting for a little bit now, because I love finishing. It is one of my favorite jobs to do. And yeah, let's do this. This is, of course, the moment my dog is picking up a toy and wants to play. Unfortunately, she'll have to wait just a little longer. Really trying to go carefully around the carved bits here, and also just not putting too much stain around the edge here, because I don't want it leaking through to the binding. I could have chosen a easier job to do, but if I can pull this off, it will look pretty darn cool. So the brown is essentially the base coat that will bring out the flame and the figuring in the top and the back. I am not expecting it to be the prime color, as you might know from the tests that we've done, or test that we've done. We're gonna go from this to this in a matter of a couple of days. But my God, look at that flame. That is incredible. So with finishing, the way that we were taught in school especially, was always start with the hardest part and then just do the simpler parts after that. So that is why I'm also starting with the top, because without a doubt, it is the hardest part of this process. And I do have a bunch of windows open, ventilation going, because A, it stinks, but also, well, it's not good for you. I should be wearing a respirator or a face mask of some sorts, but yeah, I'll remedy that with the later layers so that I can have commentary now. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Wear the proper safety equipment. I've used that phrase way too many times while building this, and I am going to stop doing that and instead just actually start practicing what I preach and put on a face mask or respirator thingy. All right, moving on to the sides here. There's a little bit of glue that I need to clean up in the neck joint here. So that's good to know. All right, back in the neck. Let's do the neck first, because I know you're probably anxious to see it. I guess I am. And that flame is just gonna pop once we actually sand down the brown and apply the next layer of stain. All right, then the back to go, and we're finished with the first bit of staining. This one's the easy part. You'll find out what this cavity is all about later on in the build. You don't need to know currently. Look at that curl. So cool. Paper towel here is kind of disintegrating, but it will do the job still. Now that's a very, very brown guitar. And we're gonna let this dry and come back to it after the fact. Just gonna little bit with some fresh towel just to get a bit of a better and even coat on here. Nope, it's a lot of stain. Oops. All right, most of this is gonna get sanded away, but at least I don't see any scratches. There's that glue that needs to be gotten rid of, but no scratches or anything like that, which would be a bummer. So yeah, let's leave that to cure and come back to it probably tomorrow. All right, sweet. This is where it gets interesting. So we're now on to the second stage of staining, which will be the, I wonder what I should start with. I'll start with the back, then I'll do the side and the neck, and then I'll do the front. That's what I will do. So the way that this is gonna go is first I'm gonna apply the orange, which is gonna be quote unquote way too much, and then move on to dulling that down or dialing that back with the brown. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. This will look very vibrant for a little bit, but this is just an undertone. Technically, apply a pretty generous helping of the orange. Now this would be a good color for me. Ginger guitar for a ginger quote unquote guitarist. I am not a guitar player by any. Oh my God, look at that. The flame popped like crazy. I cannot wait to see what this does to the front. It's gonna be insane. All right, so essentially this orange and brown combination that I'm gonna do is gonna give some much desired depth to all the figuring and saturate the colors ever so slightly. Now where the real saturation of all the colors comes in is when I apply the amber on top of everything. That is gonna make things pop, and that's gonna be cool. So now a very light layer of the same brown that I did the base color with, just to kind of try to dial that back. Might need to do a little generous amount of brown. Yeah, see, that's the sort of thing I'm looking for. This is one of those parts where you just gotta trust the process, that for the time being, it won't look great, but we know what the end result is that we're going for. And we just gotta trust that the processes go as they're meant to. 'Cause honestly, this is a very meh color. It's very just brown, for lack of a better way of describing it. And yeah, now let's move on to the black. In the meantime, I'm gonna do the sides and the neck. And the sides and the neck, they're not gonna get any more after this, so it's just gonna be the brown and the black. And the combination of these colors should provide a very nice contrast. And hopefully what the brown kind of does to the black is, well, essentially just try and bring a bit more earthy tones tint the black toward brown instead of like gray. Should look a bit more organic in a way. I don't know, really, earthy is probably the best way to put it. I think I got it right in the first time. Just gotta be careful not to get any of the black on the front. Make sure I got even coverage. I'm not missing any bits because there won't be any more of this put on anywhere. So I don't wanna come back and have to redo bits. Really making sure to get an even coat here. Sorry for the screaming outside. There is a playground right outside my window. Well, the mahogany's really drinking up the black. So at least that's coming out to a really nice contrast between the back and top and middle. It's getting that sandwich effect. I don't know I shouldn't talk while I'm doing something like this. I should just concentrate on what I'm doing. Now with the end there done, I can put in the hook back in, like so. I believe that the blacks are okay. I'm just missing a little bit here. Cool. Up. All right. Now for the front. Fantastic. All right. Whew. Now for the front. Okay. Let's see how this top is gonna look. Here we go. And once the amber goes on tomorrow, I'm also going to do the crimson red for the carving. There we go. Now for the final bit of brown. That was stressful. All right, let's put that up to dry and come back to it tomorrow for the final bits of color. Before we do the amber on the top, we're gonna stain the carving with the crimson red, so a little bit of a brighter red. And to do that, I'm just gonna give everything a very light sanding down, just to get like sort of highlight areas. I'm gonna keep corners and nooks and crannies untouched and just literally grab the higher parts a bit more. But because this is three-dimensional to begin with, it is going to already work a bit better. This is where the stain makes a much bigger difference than doing this with the paints before, because the stain flows and sets in all the little voids while the paint just sits on top and makes a uniform color. All right, I am super excited, somewhat nervous about this, but hey, we're just gonna get right on into it. So here we go. Make sure that I have the correct stain for the job. And look at that, already coming alive so well. This looks fantastic. I'm going to use the smaller brush in a second there to do all the lines a bit closer to the edges. I'm also being very careful not to get drops flying this way and that onto the top of the guitar, because I don't want that to be red in any way. I got a little fleck there, but I'll deal with that. I think this is working out very well. All right, smaller brush to the rescue to get all those places I couldn't reach first time around. Gonna come back in a little bit and we'll do the top. Are you guys ready? We're about to do the little final bit of stain, but before that, need to do a final bit of sanding. So I'm just gonna use the Kovacs green and really lightly sand this down. Like I'm talking real light. We've got the red all done up, looking good. Now we're in for the final stretch here. And essentially what this tiny bit of sanding is doing is bringing forth some of that orange that's under the brown right now, in theory. Remove all the dust, do the back. All right. You can tell I'm nervous. Don't want to screw this up, because amber feels like it's gonna be real bright. But need to remember that. I'm putting these gloves on the wrong hands right now. Need to remember that essentially this is the part that's gonna tie everything together. Because right now it's kind of like a uniform, just dark brown type thing. I want to bring a little bit of luxury vibe. The amber gold. Folding up a nice little tool of a rag here. And here we go. It's not quite orange enough to my liking. However, it ain't too bad. I'll have to see how I feel about this once it dries. Oh, it's changing a bit in the light. Okay, it's not that bad. It's fun. It has that kind of rustic look to it. It's starting to pull that orange through. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, moment of truth on the top. Gonna do the getting to it. And after all this time, it is ending up, okay, at first I was gonna say it's ending up looking very similar to the aged gold burst or whatever it's called on the PRS that I have, but nope, dude, this is looking pretty freaking cool. That flame goes deep. Yeah. Okay, this is pretty cool. And then when we get that nice faux binding border on everything, oh yeah. Now what I've been debating about is having just a high gloss back, and then, high gloss front, and then satin back everything, sides and back and stuff like that. Kind of akin to what the current one is. We'll see what I decide on once I've done the sealer coats, because that kind of That's the deciding factor, really. Also can't wait to pull the tape and see how well the masking has gone. Hoping for the best, honestly. So we'll soon find out. Because this is spirit-based stain. So I'll be able to pull the tape off fairly soon. Alright, there we have it, folks. She's a beaut. Okay, tell you what, I'm actually just gonna leave the microphone on the table while I do this. For some ASMR goodness, huh? Here we go. Looking good, looking good. A little bit of cleanup here and there, but not bad. Although I think that is the red pushing through the end grain. So I don't know if I can fix that. Got the same thing on the other side. I'll try my best. Dude, that's so cool. That is really freaking cool. A little bit of cleanup on the headstock, but we're sanding the binding anyway, so. Took a little bit of a break there due to just travel and stuff that you will find out about later. But we are going to go and spray the first bit of clear on this today. But before we do that, we need to do a little bit of sanding for the binding or the faux binding of this guitar. So I'm going to start off with some 240. And essentially just start bringing that binding up to par. Don't want too big of a binding on the headstock. Unfortunately, it looks like the stain is taking to sanding very well, so it hasn't gone too deep into the grain, which would have been a pain to kind of clean up. Now I could as well just be using like a scalpel, but I'm going to use that at the end just to clean up the very last tiny bits. I'm kind of using my finger as a guide here, so I don't take away too much. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think that will need a little bit of scraping. Now to just show you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take 320 and repeat the process. And with the 320, I'm kind of doing the final bit of just rounding off that edge so I don't have a sharp corner. Of course, had I been smart about this, I would have done the headstock inlay now, but alas, that will have to be after the fact, because I don't have time to do it today. So I'll have to do that along with assembly later on in the week. I have to just check over the binding, do the body. Might give you a little bit of a time lapse of that, maybe. Okay, we are ready to go. So I'm just gonna pack this up. So I have now sanded the binding so that it's actually binding, invisible. And it looks good. Last little checkups, see if I can see anything amiss here. I'll try and see if I can get rid of, there's been some bleed through on the end grain for the red stain, and that unfortunately I can't seem to get rid of because it is pretty far in the grain there. So unfortunate, but what you gonna do? Other than that, I got this pretty nicely cleaned up. Little bits here and there that have kind of seeped through, but nothing that looks completely off-putting. Also got the fretboard masked up because that's not getting any clear coats on it. So I'm gonna pack this up in a case and head to the workshop, which, yeah, really need to get going. All right, see you there in a bit. All right, we are here at the lovely Vuokraversta's spray booth, spray room, finishing area place, and I'm just doing the prep work to get this all cleared up. I'm gonna be using Maston 1 sprays because I love these things. I've talked about them many times before, and I will keep on talking about them for a long time to come. Extremely easy to apply, goes on very nicely, very thin. There's no run down, and it's very hard and actually is touch-proof in 15 minutes and full hardness in 24 hours. Very convenient, especially at this point when I'm starting to run out of time with the build itself. So, I'm gonna go a bit muffled now because I'm putting on my mask, but however, got everything set up and good to go. And now it's just a matter of making sure that there's no dust, nothing extra, excess, anything that would make my life a nightmare. By the looks of it, I've managed to keep everything pretty good. There's no excess dust. Put this to hang up, and I'll do the test bit by spraying the back plates, and then we'll move on to the actual guitar itself. So, shake this for a couple of minutes, and see you in the spray booth. Just to put a little bit on the back so that they don't warp. Very light coat to begin with. I do need to change my gloves so I don't get any drip. Now to make sure that I'm actually filming, I am! Don't know how the focus is, but I'll try and talk you through this. So, I'm gonna start always with a movement, always off the guitar. Sides first, back, headstock, front, and then the neck. A rather light coat, first coat. and half overlapping each consecutive layer. Here's the money shot. And then the neck. This can be a bit tricky. All right, that's the first coat. Next coat's gonna go a bit heavier. Let's see if I can get some of that gloss in there. I can kind of see it. I am fairly happy with how this went on. The first coat is always very light, very light. So there's not gonna be a hell of a lot of difference. Gives you a slight glimpse of what is to come. But I'm gonna keep going at it. I'm gonna do 3 layers today. So that's, now I've done the first coat, I'm gonna wait 20 minutes, then I'm gonna come back, do second coat, 20 minutes again, and then the third and final coat. Come back tomorrow, do scuff sanding and more coats on that. Again, more 3. And we'll see where we get there. Yeah, look forward to it. Next up, I know I have like a flat surface here, but I don't know if there's stuff on it, so I'm just gonna do this on top of here and soft that, but because that's probably dirty, put some plastic over on top of that. This came straight off the roll, so I know that this is clean. What we're gonna be doing is scuff sanding the clears from yesterday. Now, however, usually I would do this with a little bit of, well, with a bit more time. I would start with probably 600, 800, work my way up through the grits to get everything nice and flat sanded, but however, I don't have time for that. So, 1200 it is, and I don't, well, I do have some paper towel, so I guess I could do wet sanding, but I might just do this dry. Essentially, just gonna have a block, a little bit of cork on it, then a clean piece of 1200 grit. Gonna start in the back, just because it's a little less conspicuous, but hey, come on. Look at that color. I was a bit worried that it would be very brown, but the orange did come out. I mean, it is still brown. Don't get me wrong, but the orange did actually pop up a good bit. And yeah, usually I would do little circles, but I'm having to forego a lot of my usual methods here just for the sake of trying to get this done on time, but without causing any damage. So essentially, I'm really carefully doing this because I don't want to go through the clears. That's why I'm doing 1200, because this does slap on pretty thin. I have a feeling that after the Great Guitar Build-Off is over and done with, I'm gonna reassess how the clears hold up, and if I deem it necessary, I will come back and apply more clear coat to this and do a bit more finishing, because, you know, finishing is something that I take a lot of pride in, and now having to kind of hurry this up a little bit bums me out. I want to take my time. I want to make it perfect, and this is a 10-year anniversary model, so it should be as good as I can make it. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, this just isn't possible. because we have to demo this guitar on Monday. So next week, Monday. It is currently Tuesday, what day is it today? It is Wednesday today. So I have less than a week, and I only have, because Friday I won't be able to, or like the entire weekend, I won't be able to work on this. So I have to have this finished tomorrow, which is good that I have a clear coat that dries and hardens in 24 hours. Because in 24 hours, this puppy needs to go together. So wish me luck. I am definitely gonna need it. And also, I just wanna, after the great guitar build-up is over, I want to also assess whether or not I would want to do a satin finish on the neck and the back of this guitar. Because then it will be a bit closer to what the original is, which has just a gloss front and satin back. So we'll see. We'll see how I like it. I'm already a little worried because I've had experiences with this clear coat where it has started to turn sticky, and I can already feel it kind of sticking to my hands here. So that's very much no bueno. All right, so I'm gonna finish up the sanding, and I'll see you in the spray booth in just a minute. My poor, poor camera that has to endure so much. Alright. It's going to be the exact same process as last time. We're just adding more. Oh, my arm is getting so tired. This is just the first layer. God damn. I don't know how the angle was for you, but I guess I'll see you in editing. So yeah, that's a fair bit more clears than the first time around. And I'm gonna do 3 layers of that today. And I'm gonna let it cure overnight and come back tomorrow to pick it up. I'm gonna show you what everything looks like at the end of today. And yeah, well, here's what it looks like at the end of the day. And next up, it's gonna be fretwork and putting everything together. So yeah, wish me luck. It's gonna be a long day.